My name is Jeffrey Hartsough. I'm on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. Elections for the 14 seats on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council's board are being held this spring. The date of the election is Tuesday, May 11th. The question and answer session is with the candidates for the Area 7 residential seat. Let me introduce them. Michael Binkow, Susan Collins. Adam Drucker is not able to be with us this evening, and Michael Fishman. The order in which candidates will respond to each question will be different and is random. Questions will have announced time limits. Michael Binkow will answer the first question first. It's your candidate statement, and the time limit is 60 seconds. Michael, please.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I'm currently serving on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, Area 7, and proud to do so. I signed up to run for re-election mainly because I didn't want the seat to go unfilled, as is the case in some other seats. And then I was thrilled to see there were 3 other people running for it. So that's wonderful. Although I don't know Michael Fishman, I'd like to get to know him. I do know Susan Collins, and she would be an incredible addition to the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council. So I'll start with that. I think the neighborhood councils were started by as a result of a reaction to the secession movement that the Valley wanted to do back in the early 90s, San Pedro as well. And the answer was the city voted it down. The voters voted it down, but they did then amend the charter to create city neighborhood councils to be able to give direct voice from the neighborhoods to the city council and the mayor. And while that was, I think, a noble goal, I don't think it's really accomplished everything we wanted to. So it behooves us to really get together, work as a community to try to solve the problems that face us. Sometimes the things we've faced in the council are really important, and sometimes it's elephants and world issues that don't really affect people in Sherman Oaks. So my goal would be to focus SONC on issues that affect Sherman Oaks and only those issues that affect Sherman Oaks, and really try to reach out to the community, because communicating with the stakeholders is really number one. And that's it.
Thank you. Susan Collins.
Hi, I am Susan Collins. Thank you so much for this opportunity tonight. And thank you, Michael, so much for your words of confidence. I appreciate them. As I mentioned, I'm Susan Collins, and I've been a resident of Sherman Oaks for the past 13 years. I have proudly called this my home. I live here, I work here, I've raised my son here. I have been involved with our neighborhood council and our homeowners association, as well as other community interest groups for several years. As a full-time resident and a homeowner and an active member of the Sherman Oaks community, I have an appreciation for how wonderful our neighborhood is. And I'm fully vested in making certain that this community continues to thrive and grow. I also understand the issues that Sherman Oaks, as well as the rest of the city, are facing, such as homelessness, traffic, safety, supporting local businesses, the economic recovery from COVID-19, and addressing the increased noise due to the change in flight paths from the FAA, and restoring our air quality. And I'm running because I believe, as Michael said, involving the community has proven to be difficult. And I'd like to make certain that our community has a broader outreach. And I think that we're all responsible for contributing to the growth and well-being of our community. And I'd like to be a part of that process.
Thank you. And now Michael Fishman, please.
Hello. My name is Michael Fishman, and I was born and raised in Tarzana. I currently live in Sherman Oaks with my wife, 2 kids, and a dog. I'm involved with the community via nonprofits such as the Jewish Federation and the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, which I'm currently board chair. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my first business in college at the University of Wisconsin-Madison 10 years ago. This business was a bicycle company called Pure Cycles. We were based in Burbank. I also serve as a mentor for other entrepreneurs through the University of Wisconsin-Madison and through the Jewish Federation. I love riding my bike everywhere, and I use public transportation when I can. I believe that people are happier, healthier, and friendlier when they can get around by walking, riding, scooting, basically anything other than taking a car. My biggest interests are equitable and safe transportation, green space, and entrepreneurship. My goal is for my wife and I to safely ride or bike or walk our kids to school at all times of the day or night. Please reach out to me if you want to get to know me better. I'd love to go on a hike or bike ride with you.
Thank you. Question number 2 gives you a chance to focus more specifically on Sherman Oaks and what you would do. So why do you want to be on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council? This is a 30-second question, and Michael Fishman, you're first.
I want to be on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council so to make the city a safer and healthier place for my kids to grow up in. I want to make our streets safer, and I want to help our businesses thrive.
All right, Susan Collins.
I want to be on our neighborhood council because I love our community and I want our stakeholders to be informed. I want to empower our stakeholders by providing them with truthful, non-biased information so that they're able to form views based on facts, not off of half-truths and deceptions. And I also want to motivate them to participate in our neighborhood council so that their views are counted. I believe that's the only way that our neighborhood council can advocate for our community in a way that truly mirrors the views of our stakeholders.
And finally, Michael Binkow, please.
I want to be on the neighborhood council because I've been on it 5 years. And if I get termed out, that's okay too, because I think serving and then giving other people a chance to serve is important. I think we got to get out of the echo chamber. There's 21 people we talked to at the neighborhood council board meeting, which is great. Those are 21 committed members of the community and a handful of other people. Susan knows, she's been there, but not enough. We got to reach out and we've got to get the community involved, and they do care. I mean, here we had the largest turnout in the history of this country in 2020 national election, but we can't get 20 people to show up at our meetings. So my goal would be to try to improve the participation of the community.
All right, the next question is a 45-second question. So what do you think are 2 or 3 biggest issues facing the Sherman Oaks community? And the first speaker is Susan Collins.
Thank you. Well, first, obviously, is going to be homelessness. And I think we really need to address the fact that this crisis is never going to improve as long as it's incentivized. Right now, homelessness is a huge moneymaker for developers and service providers. We need to advocate for programs that are transformative for the entire community and that are cost effective. Second is the fact that our single family zoning is under attack by bills being passed through or trying to be passed through by our legislators in Sacramento. And those single family zonings would be replaced with plans that would allow developers to build almost anything, anywhere, without any consideration for the current residents and without updating our infrastructure. And third, we need the FAA to agree to restore our community's quality of air and quiet airspace, which they have destroyed by increased flights, altered flight paths, condensed flight paths, and the reduced altitude at which our flights are allowed to depart and arrive into both Burbank and Van Nuys Airport. And just as a quick little last note is the transportation. You know, some of the plans that have been put on the table are transit lines that would displace residents and businesses from our community. All of those are huge. All of those need to be addressed.
All right, next, Michael Binkow, please.
Very simple, Jeffrey, Sarah, 3 issues: traffic, affordable housing, and traffic. Before the pandemic, traffic was all that people in Sherman Oaks cared about. And I don't mind traffic too much because, like Michael, I ride my bike or used to ride it all the time before I fell off. But I think that we have to figure out how to solve the traffic problem in Sherman Oaks, people going in the neighborhoods. And the biggest solution is fix Sepulveda and the 405. And I don't think enough people are aware that Metro is about to make a life-changing decision, and they're not speaking up, pro or negative. They're not getting involved, and we need to make sure that that is a priority. And as far as the changing of the neighborhood and the Scott Wiener bills, you know what? We've got to do something about affordable housing, or we're going to be in a big world of hurt. And the underpasses are going to get worse and worse with homeless people that are kicked out of their apartments because they can't afford to live here.
Okay, and finally, Michael Fishman, please.
I think the 2 biggest issues facing the Sherman Oaks community is, one, that our streets are not safe enough for our cars, pedestrians, or bikes, and that our traffic is terrible, as Michael just stated. It's important to understand also that car accidents are the leading cause of death for people under the age of 18. And the second issue being that there's not enough green space, parks and yeah.
Okay. What will you do if you are not elected? Will you be active in SONC or other community organizations? This is a 15-second question, and Susan Collins, you're first.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I will be continue to be active. I have been active for the last several years. I have no intentions of going anywhere, so I will remain active in both our Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, our homeowners association, and glad to participate in any way I can be helpful.
All right, Michael Fishman.
Yeah, if I'm not elected, I'll continue my Safe Streets advocacy through the Los Angeles County Bicycle Coalition, which, like I said, I'm currently board chair. I'll also continue to attend the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Transportation Committee meetings, which I've attended this year pretty regularly. And then I'll also continue to be involved with LA Forward.
And Michael Binkow, please.
I'm taking my ball and going home. Sorry. And this may not be popular with you, Jeffrey or Sarah, but I believe the city's facing a tremendous economic shortfall because of the pandemic, and the $4.5 million spent on neighborhood councils could be allocated, I think, much more effectively. So I would work to try to figure out how to either work with neighborhood councils to make them more effective. Some are better than others, but really try to work with the city to allocate our resources in a more effective way.
All right, so the next question is the flip side of that, and that is, if you are elected, which committees would you like to be on and why? And Michael Binkow, you're first.
First, I'd like to be on the finance committee because I think Candy Williams does a terrific job and I don't think she gets enough credit or support. So I would do what I can to help her. And secondly, I'd like to be more involved in the developer chat with what we talk to developers who come to Sherman Oaks. Not that we have no power over them. So let's face the fact, we can't tell a developer what to do. We can only, lean and push and prod. But if they're going to build housing in Sherman Oaks, they've got to build affordable housing as well.
All right. Next is Michael Fishman.
Yeah, if elected, I'd like to serve on the Transportation and Traffic Committee, possibly the Public Safety and the Green and Sustainability Committees, and then additionally possibly the Finance Committees. For my obvious passion for safer streets, for the first three, and for the Finance Committee, because I've run a business for the past 10 years. I'm in the process of starting a new business. I've mentored other businesses, and I really understand finance and creating budgets, and I think I could be helpful.
All right, and finally, Susan Collins, please.
I would like to participate in the outreach committee, and because really, as Michael has acknowledged, not that many of our community members are really aware of the neighborhood council, and I don't feel like we're able to adequately represent their views if they don't know about us and if they don't know about what's coming up. So I'd like to really work towards participating in the community outreach programs and also the homeless outreach programs. I'd like to try to advocate for programs that actually cure homelessness rather than what we're doing now, which is just treating the symptoms of it. I would like to restore our public spaces, safety and cleanliness, and I think that we can do that.
All right, so the next question is a 30-second question, but it will challenge you because the question is, if you received a $1 million grant to be used in Sherman Oaks, what would you do with it and why? So you get to spend $1 million in 30 seconds. So first on the list is Michael Binkow.
Well, great. Thank you for that $1 million. The two things I would do. One, I would immediately hire private safe traffic officers, like they did on a Greenleaf and there's a private driveway. They hired someone. I talked to LAPD. They have an armed guard. We don't need armed guards, but we need more traffic officers moving traffic like they have on Van Nuys and Ventura and Beverly Glen and Ventura. So that's number one. Number two is, if anybody heard what they spent on the new homeless housing site in Burbank, on Burbank and Van Nuys, and it's $550,000 per unit, that's ridiculous. So I would take some of this money to get a study of what we really can do to build housing. If we can build housing for firefighters in the middle of a brush fire and house them in 48 hours, we can do it with homeless people too.
All right, Michael Fishman. You have $1 million.
Nice. If we received $1 million grant to be used in Sherman Oaks, I would use the money to create protected bike lanes that lead to Sherman Boulevard and lead to the Red Line at Universal. I think a big missing aspect of our streets is not having connected bike lanes.
All right. And Susan Collins, your $1 million?
I would like to invest in field identification units for our first responders so that when they encounter someone who is not capable of providing their name and identification, our responders could quickly and accurately identify them and reconnect them with their appropriate people or wherever they may be from. Currently, the only way they have to do this is to actually take a person to the police station, which is traumatizing to people suffering with mental illness. It can also escalate the situation, which is unnecessary. The system can also be used to identify people that perhaps have a criminal record that might be giving them either false identification or false information. So I believe that our first responders, it's unfathomable to me that they don't have a way to identify somebody in the field right there and then. And I would like to invest in that.
Okay. So the next question is one of my favorites because each of us has some experience in Sherman Oaks to share. So it's a 15-second question, and it's name one thing specific to Sherman Oaks that you would say is a not so well known, but a hidden gem. And Susan Collins, you're first.
Thank you. And I almost hated to put this down because I don't want everybody to find it. But if you hike all the way up to the top of Dixie Canyon, it is beautiful. It is breathtaking. And it goes all the way up, and then there's a fire road, and you have a beautiful view. And it is easy to forget that you are anywhere even close to the city other than looking over it. And it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, and I love it.
Thank you. Michael Fishman.
Wow. That's awesome. Susan, we have something in common because I was going to say the same thing, but I'll say it. My biggest hidden gem is also hiking and biking up Dixie Canyon, up to Mulholland, and then taking that all the way to Dirt Mulholland on my bike and hiking up there with my daughter and my son as well.
Okay, and Michael Binkow.
This is going to sound self-serving, but I think it's actually the neighborhood council. Because for people like Michael Fishman who have nonprofits that need money, we got money. And if people knew, they would come. Not enough people, Sarah, am I right? Not enough people come to us for the money that we've been allocated to give away. And boy, it really can go to good use by the community if people would just come and make, go through the process, but make the plan. My favorite hidden restaurant is Little Itzakawa. So.
Okay, thank you for that little one, because anyway, sooner or later, the pandemic will end and I'll be out eating again. All right, the final question, which is simply a summary statement by the candidates. This gives you an opportunity to address anything you would like. It is a 60-second question. And Michael Fishman, you are first.
All right. If elected, I promise to listen, ensure transparency, and spend the necessary time required to make our city a happier and healthier place to live.
All right. Michael Binkow, you're next.
Well, I've kind of said everything I wanted to say. I would say that if I was elected, I would be proud to serve again, but really I would like more people involved. So I'm glad that Michael and Susan are here and that they are active and get involved, because the key is to get more community members involved in how we do what we do, and not just to complain from the sidelines and go on your computer and bitch and moan. It's get involved, and you can actually do it through the neighborhood council. And as you said earlier, Jeffrey, whether you're on the board or not, you can get involved and do almost anything you want to help the community. So I would encourage people to vote, but also to make your voice heard. Susan knows more than anybody, because she certainly made her voice heard when we were talking about the homeless housing. And thank God she was, because it brought out everybody. And I think they were passionate. And it's nice that people have passion about their community and that the neighborhood council continues to grow.
Thank you. And Susan, you get to wrap it up.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to the Neighborhood Council. Thank you, Michael, for your service. Thank you for always being so wonderful. Thank you, Michael, for your participation in this process too. However, I do think I'm the best candidate to serve as our Area 7 representative. because I've been actively involved in our community by participating in our neighborhood council, in our homeowners association, and even by running for city council. I truly, truly believe in action over rhetoric, and I've shown that I'm willing to work hard for our community. I will continue to work diligently to keep the stakeholders of Sherman Oaks informed on all of the proposed changes. And I guess I want to make certain that, you know, our city leaders tend to say one thing and do another, and they get away with it because community members either don't know about the proposed changes or they're misled. They get half truths. So my primary goal as a member of our neighborhood council will be to aggressively work for more community outreach, to get our community involved. And I'll do that by ensuring that they're delivered truthful, accurate, non-biased information, and so that they can form educated opinions and receive representation from us, that we can advocate for them in a way that actually represents the views of our community. If I'm elected, it would be an honor to receive your vote. It would be an honor to serve as our representative. And I thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you.
We hope that the Sherman Oaks stakeholders will see this video and the other videos about the candidates, attend other candidate forum events, and check on the Sherman Oaks website for other information about the candidates in the election. We hope that these things, as well as their just interest in the community, will help them become better informed and better voters. Voting in the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council elections this year will be a vote by mail only, a vote by ballot is how they're calling it, a vote by ballot only election. So you need to apply for a ballot. Information about how to apply for your vote by mail ballot will be available on the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council website. The Los Angeles City Clerk actually administers the elections, and the City Clerk's website has detailed information about the voting process and how to apply for and how to get a ballot. The process is more complex than we would like it to be. Because of that, I urge you to apply for and get your ballot as soon as possible. The last day to apply for a ballot is May 4th at 5 p.m. You have time to do it, so please go out and do it now. Thank you again for your interest in Sherman Oaks. Please get involved and please vote.